So for Sandrine, here it is. So the first question is an easy one. Does RE2020 apply to non-residential building also?
Yes, RE 2020 applies to non-residential buildings, but the verification of ventilation system is not mandatory for non-residential buildings.
Yeah, so it applies to all buildings, but it's only residential building where we have a verification of ventilation system.
Yeah.
Basically because we don't have a proper regulation for non-residential building ventilation in France.
Yes, that's it.
So does this new regulation foresee that the building owner will be informed of the result of the inspection before he finishes to pay the building construction company for these new dwellings? We have French people in this in the attendance, I guess.
Yes, it's the owner who will contract with the inspector who will make this verification. So the owner will be aware of the results of this inspection. And we expect that in case of non-conformity, we expect the owner asks for the conformity and for some works so as the ventilation system to be conform. So the owner will have the results of the inspection.
Yeah, and it's his own responsibility to wait for the results before he finishes to pay the construction company. If the ventilation protocol is not public yet and the RE 2020 will be applied in January 2022, will tester be ready to perform the inspection, or when will the inspection really begin?
Yes, so the regulation, the RE 2020 will begins on the January 1st of 2022, but the first inspection verification will occur at the end of the construction. That is to say, we expect the first verification of ventilation system on new buildings will occur around this summer, the summer 2022 or September 2022. So the first verifications will not occur on January. The protocol will be published on December 2021, but it's not a new protocol. It comes from a previous protocol that is public since 2016, which is called FOMEVAN, and which is yet applied for some labels, for French labels like Effinergy Plus labels. So we took this protocol that is known by everyone, and we just manage and make some few
Adjustments.
Adjustments. And so the new protocol is not a new one, but comes from a protocol that is well known yet. Moreover, we have, as you saw, we have all of the operator will have to have training and then have to get the qualification. Those training are ready. That is to say, when as soon as the protocol is published, training centers are ready to adapt their training that exist yet too, and they just have to adapt and then to propose the new trainings that is very actually conform with the new protocol. So we expect that everything will be okay for this summer. Training is ready, qualification is in the starting block, as we say. So everybody is ready for the first semester of 2022.
Yeah, and inspector trade unions and training center are involved in the writing of the protocol, so they should be ready.
Yeah.
How will non-conformity be handled? Will the owner have to make it conform, or will he pay a fine if it doesn't? What happens with non-conformities in France?
Nothing is actually written in a regulation about this question. The only thing about non-conformity is what I said is that non-conformity will be written on a final document that attests the conformity with regulation. But it's not written that the owner has to make it conform. But we expect that the same occurs that what occurred with building airtightness around 12 years ago, when we had a bad result for building airtightness and a non-conformity. The owner asked for the conformity of the results. So we expect the same behavior of the owners. If he sees that the ventilation system is not conform, we expect he asked for the conformity of the ventilation system. But nothing is actually written in the regulation.
We expect that he will want his building to be conformed and make sure
exactly.
that the company make it conforms. Okay, where can I read the instructions for the inspection?
The French state will use uses an internet website, and I can give you, it's RT-RI-bâtiment.
Oh, okay,
It's very difficult. I can send you if you want. I
right
send
here?
you. Bâtiment-développement-durable.gouv.fr.
No.
It's a very difficult name for the website.
Okay.
I will check if it's the good one, and I'll tell you.
Okay, and put it in the chat. Okay, thank you. But it will be online only in December. So yeah.
We find yet on this website the text for the training that will be approved by the ministry, and the qualification, all requirements for these trainings and for these qualifications are yet available on this website.
Yeah, and for the protocol, you can also check the Promevan website.
Yeah.
Much easier to find the website here with the former protocol that has been used to make this one. Why does everything have to be measured if the measurement has been made correctly already in the system adjustment phase? So if there is a proper commissioning done by the company, why should we measure everything?
Because we are not sure that there is a proper commissionment that is done. I think measurements at commissioning are not very often in France. So this is the reason why there is this mandatory check. In France, that has been since 20 years that we see that ventilation systems are not well installed, or do not function correctly. And this is the reason why we come to a regulation on the systems, because it doesn't work. And that's just 20 years that we say it, and nothing is, and yes, it's not better. So this is the reason why we come to a regulation on it.
Okay. Can you clarify in which cases air pressure can be measured instead of airflow rate as part of the inspection? Can demand control ventilation system pass the inspection when only air pressure are measured?
So air pressures are measured in very specific points that are described in the protocol, and air pressure is measured only when we have
humidity.
Yes, humidity. Just controlled
ventilation system.
Yeah, that's it. And for those systems, we have low airflows, and the measurements of the air pressures is better to verify if the exhaust extract diffuser is well extract diffuser, but all the ventilation system is well installed. So this is very well described in the protocol. When do we have to have the airflow measurements, and when do we have to make the pressure measurements?
And it's in practice, I think we have more than 90% of humidity control ventilation system in residential building in France. So most of the time, in fact, it will be pressure at air terminal device that will be checked and not the flow rate, I think.
Yes.
And
we
also,
have different measurements to make at low flow rates and maximum flow rates. And in each case, we precise if it's flow rates or air pressure that has to be measured.
To be checked, yeah. But we have technical agreement for this system. So they have a range of pressure on which they work, and it has been checked that from 50 to 150 Pascal, for example, they work. It has been checked by an independent laboratory. So if the pressure is good, then we can expect that it's working properly.
Yeah,
I guess. So what is the percentage of new build dwelling which will not be covered by this new regulation because they don't implement the type of mechanical ventilation system concerned?
I'm not sure I'm able to answer that question. I think it's very poor. It's a very small percentage because the big majority of new buildings are equipped with a mechanical ventilation system. But I don't have the right number percentage, and I wouldn't like to communicate a false one. So I don't know, but I think it's a very small percentage.
It's a few percent, like 2 or 3%, something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
I would guess. But, yeah. If I understood well, the inspection will be mandatory, but with no constraints on the results, non-conformity being only mentioned in the report but not corrected. Is that right? I think you already covered this question together with this one. In case of non-conformity, is a correction needed? Well, we expect the owner to do that. What if the requirements of the builder conflict with the requirement? Example, he doesn't want visible air terminal devices.
All the checkpoints that are verified are checkpoints which correspond to a regulation. So the owner has to respect the regulations and has to apply those points. All the mandatory checkpoints are consistent with an actual regulation, so he has to apply them. And yes, if those mandatory checkpoints are non-conform, it's the ventilation system is non-conform to regulations. So the builder has to have those points conform.
Is the acoustic performance part of the checkpoints, mandatory ones or not?
No, there is no part about acoustic.
Not mandatory part.
No, and there is no measurement neither on acoustic.
Okay. Okay, we still have 5 minutes left. That's good because we have still some questions. I will first go back to the question. So there were a remark saying that the EPBD 19A has missed the opportunity to put forward the benefit of regulatory inspecting ventilation systems. I agree with that, but that was not the scope of EPBD 19A, but indeed regulatory inspection of ventilation system is also very, very important. There were a question for Gary. Gary, are you with us? You have to mute yourself. Yeah. Where does the value of Q50 325 for a natural ventilated building comes from?
From the building regulations. Is it part L or part F? I'm not entirely sure, but it is stipulated that an air permeability index of between 3 and 5 is the only allowable parameter for natural ventilation. It's in Part F, I think, actually.
Part F of the Irish regulation. Okay.
Yeah.
And for Dan here, Dan, you're still with us, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Does it exist tools available on air handling unit or chiller control systems that export automatically the report that you were talking about? Do you have a software that make it automatical?
Yes, it's possible. There is software solutions are available to create automated reports. Yes, but these reports contain just very basic information and also no individual information and also results which are mostly depending from system to system. So software is available, but actually, if you have a specific individual and big building with a lot of individual air conditioning systems, I would use only basic functions of this software.
Okay.
To create an independent report.
And then we have 2 questions for everybody. In your country, regarding legislation on your local regulation, are nursing homes, so that's homes for elderly people, rest home for elderly people, are they considered as residential building, or are other regulation apply for healthcare buildings? Do you know in France, Sandrine, what?
It's not. I think it's not considered as a residential building. It's another kind of building and with another regulation.
Yeah, in Ireland.
In Ireland, nursing homes, hospitals, and the like are considered residential buildings, but they're residential institutional buildings as distinct from dwellings.
Okay. Residential institution building. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. Okay, Dan, in Germany.
I think healthcare buildings. So it's depending what it means, and if there are parts of the building like rooms or meeting halls which are filled with people, which are used by people, then we need to inspect according to GEG. So it means if there are industry processes behind, like cooling facilities and so on, there are specific rules. But if we deal with, if there are people affected by the ventilation systems, then we need to work according GEG, national rule.
Okay. Then we have, I think it will be the last question because we will be running out of time. Do you see any change required for ventilation system testing due to concern of indoor air quality with regards to infectious disease transmission? Will that affect the energy efficiency regulation?
Well, in France, we began to introduce the mandatory verification of ventilation system before the disease and the infectious disease transmission, and so this has not been the reasons why we have introduced an obligation of ventilation system verification in the EP regulation. This is not the reason why, but we are very happy to have make it because this can answer some questions of this question about infectious disease transmission. But
yeah,
this is not the initial reason.
And also in France, we may at least have a proper regulation for non-residential buildings, and maybe it's partly thanks to COVID, so at least it will be a good output of COVID if there is work on a new regulation for non-residential building in France.
Yeah.
Partly due to that, I think. In Ireland and Germany, do you want to comment on this point?
We all the studies and the reports that we have sort of relate to 0.5 air changes per hour for dwellings as rendering the space a good, healthy living environment. And that's pre-COVID and still during COVID, what we aim to achieve. I know that in Galway University, there's studies going on there under Marie Coggan's group on indoor air quality, and we look forward to seeing some of the findings from those studies. But just the only sort of supporting documents and studies that we have all relate to 0.5 air changes per hour, and that's what we target.
Okay, thank you.
I think in Germany we have already some advices how to deal with infectious disease transmission. So these advices are being updated in the last time. I don't know if there is an effect on regulations or for this, but anyway, there is ongoing updates also.
Okay. So, well, we are now running out of time for this webinar. So I want first to thank you, Maria, for this the organization of this webinar with the support of AIVC. And of course, I want to thank a lot of speakers, Dan, Gary, and Sandrine, for accepting to make a presentations today. I think it has been a very successful webinar. So thank you very much for attending. And please take a few minutes to answer the survey where you will be redirected just when we will close the webinar. Thank you, everybody, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.